Well, the concept is in the downswing, the club head has to be level or trail the hands and therefore the body in order for us to get into a great impact position. Now, for today's purpose, we're going to focus more on the club head trailing the hands, as that is going to give us a little bit more margin for error. Now, what does this firstly look like? And then we can dive into it in a little bit more detail. If I go to the top of the backswing, as I start down, I want to be seeing that the club head is constantly behind the hands. And then as I come into impact, again, you can see relative to where the chest is pointing, because my chest is pointing ahead of the ball, the club head is still behind where my chest is pointing, and it's behind my hands. So essentially what I have done the whole time is I have kept that club head behind where my chest is pointing, behind where my hands are, all the way down. Now, as you can see, as I'm doing those rehearsals, you will notice that A, I can get into an awesome impact position without really even thinking. B, I'm able to develop this great, what we call quote unquote lag, as you sort of heard. But again, I'm not actually thinking of this. I'm just trying to feel like the club head stays behind my hands as I start to rotate open. So this is why it gets quite frustrating as a coach when you see all these videos where people are like, hold these angles, hold these angles. If someone says that to you, run, because nobody is holding angles out on tour. That happens as a byproduct of good movement patterns. The golf swing is very much a fluid motion. If you think about it, the greats always used to say it's a tension-free motion. Well, if you have no tension in the downswing and you're moving your body correctly and the club head is traveling behind the hands, you will be able to generate this quote-unquote lag or angle in the downswing. But here's also the crazy thing is this just isn't about golf. This is just an athletic motion. So if I place the club down on the ground, and we imagine I'm just throwing a golf ball. If I was just to step and freeze in this position right here, so as I look at this position, my chest is pointing roughly where I want the ball to go. My arm is what we class as external. The elbow's roughly on the side of the rib cage. It's a little bit away, but it's close to the side of the rib cage. My hand is behind my elbow, and aka the golf ball is sort of the furthest part of me in terms of my upper body right here. Well, this is exactly what we're trying to see in this position. It's just that everything's up here when I'm throwing. In golf, it's down here. So my chest is leading the way. Elbow's roughly getting back in front of the rib cage. The hand is behind the elbow, and the ball, which is the golf club, or if you use like tennis as an example, if you're hitting a forehand, that's going to be the same example. So you can see it's not like we're just reinventing this for golf. It's the same process across the board in every other sport. So this is why when you actually go through this concept with a lot of people, it's such a penny drop moment, and it's actually making golf relatively simple, because as soon as that club starts to work out and in front of you, you're pretty much done for. You've got to allow that club head to stay behind the hands. So if I take it to the top of the backswing, you will see a whole load of variables creating this sort of situation. Now, don't see this as, oh my God, there are so many variables at play. Actually see this as, oh, well, actually, I can find my swing thought. So we're going to work sort of from the top all the way down to the ground. What are we going to be seeing with the wrists and the forearms, the chest rotation, all of this stuff? What are some great feels and great drills to help you develop this motion? So now we're going to run through how can we develop these great feelings in order to get us into this awesome position on the way down. So to start with, I just want to grab a couple of props to help us. So the first one is an alignment stick. So the way that you're going to set the alignment stick up is get into your posture right here, your setup position. Now, just place this alignment stick roughly at about a 10-degree angle, about a club head width outside of your trail toe. So you can see this is inclined in slightly right here from the downline view. From the front on view, this is going to put us in a great position to where we can match this club up. We don't want to go too extreme with this, because otherwise we're going to find the club head gets way behind us. But again, we want it to be just in a slight offset position, just so we can train this club head feeling behind the hands without it being too excessive. Now, the second one is actually to do with a steering wheel. Now, you can use a basket or anything like this, but I'm going to break through this analogy right here. So if we want to start to get the club working into a position to where it feels like it's dropping behind us a lot more, you will see that at the top, my arms are going to very much start to what we class as internally rotate and externally rotate. Easiest way of thinking of it is imagine I am driving a car right here. So this is my steering wheel. Again, use a basket, use whatever you like. I'm going to be driving my car. As I turn back, we will see that the thumbs will naturally sort of point in front of me to start with, and I'll get to the top and there'll be this little bit of a spin just to get me to the top of the backswing. But now in transition, if I said to you, right, feel like as you start down, you just gently turn this steering wheel to the right. And you can see I'm only going about that much. It's a very subtle motion. But as I do that, you will notice how my right arm drops slightly more underneath my left. You'll also notice how this elbow will start to work in and the hand will want to work out slightly. And again, this is going to start to get you into this awesome downswing position to where you can feel, if I then do this motion with a club, how the club head is going to start to drop behind me. So this is one of the best drills to help you just start to feel what it feels like to externally rotate the trail arm, get the left arm sort of a little bit higher than the right on the way down, and create this effortless sort of flow to the golf swing. And again, like I said earlier, tension free. I don't want you to feel like you're gripping this super tight. Look at Nicholas, look at Hogan, look at all these guys. They were very sort of relaxed in their forearms, and this is a crucial part of it. Getting to the top and allowing yourself to feel that steering wheel turn slightly to the right is going to start to get that club head behind you. Now, a second analogy that I love this analogy, and this was actually for about 2 years, this was my swing thought. So what I used to do was I would get like a putter head cover or something and pop it on my 9-iron or my 8-iron or whatever it was that I was using. Sometimes I would actually do this drill with a putter to help me feel this motion. Now, this is called the heavy club head drill. So my coach back in the day used to say, imagine this suddenly weighed about 100 kilograms at the top of the backswing. If it was going to weigh 100 kilograms at the top of the backswing, where would it fall? It would fall behind me in this direction. Well, when it does this, again, that was very exaggerated, but when it does this, what it taught me was it taught me what it felt like to sort of start to bow this lead wrist a little bit more, flex this lead wrist. Again, that coupled with the turning the steering wheel to the right, and suddenly you can see that club head is going to start to get behind you into this great position. Now, why is this alignment stick on the ground here? Well, as you're doing these analogies and these feelings, you can then start to work it down and try and match this shaft up with the one on the ground. If you look in the downline position, you can say, okay, yeah, that club head's behind my hands, club face is matching spine angle, and then I would be able to turn through, get into that awesome impact position. But again, what have I not done there? I've not held anything. Nothing's felt forced. In fact, if you were to come and shake my arms, you would feel how relaxed my muscles are as I'm doing this. Obviously, there's going to be a certain amount of tension there because I'm about to hit a ball, but it's not the death grip that you see so many people do. So again, I'm going to go to the top, feel that club head work behind me, down into this good position, feel the shaft match that point, club head's behind the hands, then I can start to work through it. So you can hit shots very much like this. Set up to the golf ball, go to the top of your swing and pause. Feel like you shift and let that club come down into that position so it matches that shaft plane right there, or ball part matches it. Club face in a good spot. Then from there, just a little pump and just turn through. And actually that's produced about 2 or 3 yard draw. You can see I delivered a good amount of shaft length from the front on view, and you can see I was able just to keep everything turning all the way through. So that's just a couple of just simple training aids that can help us start to develop the correct feelings of A, getting the arms and the wrist working correctly in transition, and B, a lovely reference guide. Now I would actually hit shots with this here to where I can really just feel, okay, good position, and then all the way through. Fantastic reference guide and making sure that that club head is trailing the hands. And remember, through all of that, I'm gonna keep saying it, I was very relaxed. I was not holding anything. If you move your body correctly, you're naturally going to get that down clock, you're naturally going to get that great shaft lean, and you're naturally going to get into an awesome impact position. So now let's start to talk about how the chest, the trail, shoulder should work, and all of these different things. So when we did the throwing analogy, where was the chest pointing relative to the hand/golf ball? Well, obviously it was pointing ahead of it, and this is what we see so many good golfers do. At impacts, their chest is pointing ahead of the golf ball. So we need to start to develop this sensation. And again, we've worked through sort of what the hands and arms should do. We know the club head should be behind the hands, but now we need to talk about, okay, chest and trail shoulder. This is now our focus in this drill. Is I want you to feel like you go to the top and you leave your hands up. So if I draw a circle around my hands there, I'm gonna feel like I keep my hands in that circle for as long as possible. Now in reality, they are gonna come out within a frame or two, but it's a feel versus real that creates that stretch that allows me to work that club external, and then from there, get that club head behind me. So I'm going to the top, feeling like I leave my hands up as I start to turn. Now as I turn, I'm gonna turn, and the feeling for me is that the club head and the shoulder roughly get to the ball at the same time, or if anything, if I want to over exaggerate this feeling, is that the club is going to be behind the shoulder. It never is. But this is sort of how we can exaggerate the feeling to actually get into a position to where the chest is starting to point ahead of the golf ball. We can get into this quote unquote covering position. You often hear people talk about covering it. I often like to think of the right shoulder more as covering the golf ball. You tend to see people really get high into this position, doesn't get them into a great spot. So we want to be feeling like as they come down, club head's trailing the hands, chest is starting to work open, and the shoulder is over the ball as we start to get into this position. You can see from the downline view, it produces some great shoulder tilts, some great side bend, again, aiding us in getting that great shaft lean. So hit some shots where you go to the top of your backswing, you feel like you leave your hands up, and as you start down, you're going to feel like your trail shoulder gets to the ball before the club head does. It won't, but that's going to be the feeling. Now, in order to help you achieve this, you've got to relax those hands down. You've got to allow that club to feel like it can just gently fall into the back of the right wrist, have that down cock motion that everybody loves to see, and that is then going to allow you to get into this great sort of impact position right here. Again, I can really feel like my hands are nice and relaxed. This is a great drill right here. Just do some little windmills or little lassos right here. You can see my forearms are nice and passive, grips nice and relaxed. But you can see as I do this, I can then start to really get that club sort of lagging behind me in transition. Again, I am not holding anything. So I'm gonna hit a shot here. I'm gonna feel like I get to the top, leave my hands up. My shoulder beats my club head to the ball. This is gonna allow me to feel that club head stay behind the hands. Let me give it a go for you here. Big old over exaggeration. And that was great. Wow, I wish I could do that every time. Little draw, we can really see there I got a lot of shaft lean, and that's gonna put me into a great impact position right there. Now, just as a bonus drill to make sure that you're moving your trail shoulder, your chest, and your hips correctly, what I wanna do is just give you the chopsticks drill. This is a classic drill of mine. I absolutely love this drill, giving it out a load in lessons and a load in my videos. What you're gonna do is place an alignment stick through your belt loops and get a second alignment stick and just pop it on your shoulders. I'm just gonna watch my mic right here, and you can see I've stuck the majority of that away from the target if I'm hitting in this direction. Get into your golf posture, turn to the top, and then feel what it feels like to shift and turn. Now, if you can hit the alignment stick through your belt loops, the back of it with the one on your shoulder, that's gonna teach you how your trail shoulder should be working in the downswing. And again, if I was to freeze in this impact position, where is the chest? The chest, if there was a laser coming out, is pointing ahead of the ball, and this is crucial. So again, everything we've gone through today, club head has to be trailing the hands and it has to be trailing the body. You will release it a lot later, and this is the secret that a lot of tour pros know. So again, this is a great drill that is going to help you learn that sensation, what it feels like to get in some good side bend. If I then take these out, place them down, grab the club, do this same position here, feel that same motion. Club is going to feel like it's staying behind the hands, down into the impact. I'll release it a little bit later. If I just freeze here, you can see right shoulder and club head are roughly matching up. In reality, the club head will always be slightly ahead of the shoulder at impact, but it's a great feeling for you to have. Chest is pointing ahead of the ball by quite a bit. Hands are ahead of the club head. So again, the club head is the very last thing to come through on the chain, and this is the thing that is always going to be trailing the body. So don't let that club head sort of catch up with the body. Don't let it get in front of you like so. You need to understand that that club head always wants to be feeling like it trails the body. You can feel like that club head takes forever to get to the golf ball, and it's the body, it's the arms doing all the work this way, getting it into that great position so it can just be left behind and ultimately get into that great spot. This is where you are going to see some fantastic results, and this is the concept that all tour pros know and a lot of amateurs get wrong. Now, if you need a little bit more one-to-one help with your game, I do offer online coaching on the Skillist app. So if you need help with your game, please just drop me a message down there. I would absolutely love to help you. I can help you no matter where you are in the world. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.